We're back on the Sports Zone. I am Mike Aglialoro. It's been a little while since we've looked in on the 2014 Major League Baseball season, so we're going to do that today. And here we stand on May 1st, and the New York Mets are miraculously 15-11 on the season as we enter play in Thursday night's games. It's been a great first month if you're a Met fan. You got to like it. Coming into the season, let's be honest, nobody really thought this team was capable of winning more than 75 games. The predictions you heard from people ranged from mid-60s win total to as high as 80 wins. As much as Sandy Alderson told people in private that he thought this team had the talent to win 90 games, nobody really believed it. And seeing as how I was at opening day, I can tell you, after that loss and the opening week sweep of the Mets by the Washington Nationals, there really wasn't that much hope on a lot of people's part. And looking at the schedule that the Mets were going to have after that first series, it really looked like the season had the chance to get away from the Mets in a big hurry. But they turned around, and one of the major reasons why they've been able to turn around has been the starting pitching. Dylan G and John Neese have basically taken over the 1 and 2 spots of this rotation, and they've been dominant thus far. Henry Mejia has been the surprise of the season if you're a Met fan. Right now he has a 3-0 record and an ERA under 2. You have to love it, because the two guys you really thought were going to take over the pitching staff this season, Bartolo Colon and Zach Wheeler, have been extremely beatable. As much as Wheeler looked great his last start, they both have opponents' batting average of over 275. That's not good. That means they've been putting way too many runners on base, but they've been doing just enough to get the win, which is key because, let's be honest, the thing that has really hurt the Mets is their offense has been so terrible during the first 26 games. It has shown some signs of life over the last week, but they enter Thursday night's game in the bottom 5 teams in the league in terms of team batting average. That has to improve. They haven't hit very many home runs, but like I said, they've done just enough to get the wins. And if you look at this schedule that they've had over the first month of the season, it makes your jaw drop, because after dropping the first 3 games of the season to the Washington Nationals, they were able to take 2 of 3 from the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. They lost to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but then followed that up with a 3-game sweep of the Arizona Diamondbacks. And they have also taken series from the St. Louis Cardinals, Miami Marlins, and they did win a game earlier this week from the Philadelphia Phillies. 3 teams that have always given the Mets fits, especially over the last decade. So everything seemingly has gone right so far, except the off-the-field stuff, where, as we said a couple weeks ago, Matt Harvey posted a picture of himself on Twitter from his Tommy John surgery, giving the finger to the camera. It was the whole big thing. And then earlier this week, the big off-the-field news for the Mets was the fact that they sent letters out to basically their entire fan base, basically urging support, which a lot of people have interpreted to mean that the Mets management is trying to encourage you or in some way make the Met fan base feel guilty for not coming out to the ballpark, which, let's be honest, Met fans aren't coming out to the ballpark because the Met management has not shown a full commitment to winning. I don't really think that the fact that the Mets have an $89 million payroll translates necessarily to winning, but in a lot of people's minds, that would at least would have been a start to show that you are committed to winning. The Mets have been committed to growing a franchise through the farm system, and while there's nothing wrong with that, that has begotten 3 losing seasons. 3 seasons that started off fairly promising, only to see the team fade in the second half and the front office not respond by making any moves other than those that signify that the team is playing for the future. As much as Sandy Alderson's words have said that they are trying to compete on the field, their actions have shown a team that has been playing for future success. And if you want to do that, that's fine. Don't expect the fan base to come out to the ballpark. And oh yeah, if the fan base is actually going to come out to the ballpark, they should have a place to park that isn't being taken up by a circus that you rented the parking lot out to so you can make a few extra dollars. Don't get mad at the fan base for something that is your fault. But anyway, you just try to ignore that because once again, that is just another sign of when things are going right, the Mets have to give you reasons not to take them seriously as a franchise, and this is definitely one of those. Looking ahead to the month of May, they have another tough schedule as far as I'm concerned. They have the Subway Series with the Yankees. They are home for 3 games with the Philadelphia Phillies. Starting Thursday night, actually, they are in Colorado for 4 games, and then they travel to Miami for 3 games. They will be flying into Washington for 3 games for a rematch against the Nationals, and we'll see if they can turn the tables on the Nationals, who are ripe for the picking right now, with both Ryan Zimmerman and Bryce Harper out with injuries. So if the Mets are going to take advantage, the time is now, and they have to sweep that 3-game series in Washington. And then after that, they have a big 9-game homestand. And as much as the Mets have finally started winning at Citi Field, this is going to be the barometer. You have 3 games against the Los Angeles Dodgers, 3 games against the Arizona Diamondbacks, 3 games against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's see a winning homestand as we close out the month of May, and then they will head into Philadelphia for 3 games in the final week of May. They have to have a good month here, folks. You want to feel good about the fact that they're 15-11 at the end of April? All right, fine. Let's follow it up. Let's keep it going. And to my way of thinking, the 3 things you look for, the 3 things that have to go right for the Mets, the starting pitching, like I said, it's been the strength of the Mets team, but if you look at the peripheral numbers from Henry Mejia, Zach Wheeler, and Bartolo Colon, you have reason to be worried here. Wheeler is allowing opponents to hit 274 off of him, and between him and Mejia, they have allowed 26 walks through 59 innings. By contrast, Dylan G has allowed 13 walks through 40 innings. They have to cut back on that significantly, and they have to stop letting people on base. And Bartolo Colon, while he doesn't walk a lot of people, is allowing opponents to hit 285 off of him. And he has not been as dominant as the Mets were hoping he would look through the first month of the season. That has to change. Second thing that has to change, let's be honest, the Achilles heel of this team is the bullpen. They have had 11 save opportunities thus far. They have blown 5 of them. Kyle Farnsworth, Jose Valverde, and Daisuke Matsuzaka have gotten the saves for you thus far. Carlos Torres and Gonzalez Hermain have been used the most, and they're also allowing too many base runners. I don't care who it is. Someone has to step up and solidify that bullpen. If that answer is not on the team, then Alderson has to do what he can to get someone else on that team who can contribute in a positive way. Because I don't have a lot of faith in Daisuke Matsuzaka and Kyle Farnsworth as the season goes on. Carlos Torres and Gonzalez Hermain, I said before the season I didn't think they were terrible alternatives, but they've combined for over half the innings pitched out of the bullpen. You're going to wear them through the ground, and we've seen this story before when its name was Aaron Heilman. You need someone else out of that bullpen. And the third thing you want to see is the offense actually start hitting. Chris Young has a 205 batting average that was only brought up to 205 since his return by the 2 home runs he hit over the weekend. Curtis Granderson is hitting a $136 going into tonight's games. And Travis d'Arnaud has gone 8 for 25 over his last 2 weeks to bring his batting average up to a blistering 209. Something has to change here. And as much as I'm happy that d'Arnaud seems to be progressing even slightly with the bat, I'm not ready to replace him at catcher yet. I look for him to improve as the month of May goes on. But something has to happen out of that outfield. Curtis Granderson and Chris Young are not hitting the way you thought they were. And Juan Lagares has just been activated from the disabled list. I better not see him on the bench throughout the month of May unless someone is going to prove they are actually able to hit. Because Lagares, you know what he has with the glove? And before he went on the disabled list, he had a .314 batting average. You put him back in center field, and you stick with him. So once again, very happy to see the Mets at a 15-11 record as we enter the month of May. Let's hope they can keep it up. Right now, I'm not ready to change my preseason prediction, which said that the Mets would win 76 games, even though I did think if everything went right, they could challenge for 80, 81 wins. I would be very happy if this team is able to win 86 games by the end of the season. Let's just hold off on that 90-win talk. The season still has 5 months to go in it, and as great as this is, We've seen this story before. We've seen this movie before, where the Mets start off with a decent April, decent May, somewhat in wild card contention come the All-Star break, and then they're out of it by the first week in August. We've seen that story too many times since 2009. Let's just hold off on playoff and 90-win talk just yet. Check out everything else we got on This Is SportsZone. We got the latest from Jake Dixon's 2014 NFL draft preview. He's done the entire offensive line this week. We got the tackles, the guards, and the latest was the centers. We got Tom Lembo's preview of the Saturday night supercard with the main event being Floyd Money Mayweather and Marcos Maidana. And we got other fine quality articles from guys like Dave Tice, George Murphy, and Jay Rovsky. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, send us any questions and comments you may have. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. For This Is SportsZone, I am Mike Aglialoro. We will see you next time, folks.